This group of Gambians in the United States to pursue higher education worry so much about the way things are unfolding back home.
For the Gambia, I choose to be optimistic about Gambia and Africa, but I believe optimism cannot be just empty optimism. You have to see some things that give you a promise of good change or progress. I have not seen much progress that would give me that hope, but I still look around and see, there are many young people who are getting the opportunity to develop themselves, right? And that I just choose to look at that. It doesn't mean if young people have the opportunity to go get higher education, that would just change the society, because sometimes the young people that you have hopes on would even get the higher education that you hope would change them, but they end up just continuing, they just end up being just reproduced by the system, as if they just continue the status quo. Gambia needs true reforms, right? If you look at our society, in the public service, in civil society, in the private sector, all I see is people who have the means or access to resources using their access to take advantage of the average man.
I also believe that they have a leadership that have a vision for the country, that is there for the people. So I think the social contract between government and people is so strong that, even though they have their own issues, all countries have their issues, but I feel like countries like the US, they have a leadership which is not self-centered, which only looks at the interests of the country. And the people buy into that. I think that is not the situation in Gambia, and I think that needs to change.
Being in the United States comes with several opportunities and some takeaways as well.
People see you differently. Like when they see you, so one thing I always keep reminding myself is that whenever I go out, I have it at the back of my mind that I am an ambassador to my country. I am an ambassador to Africa in general, to my country in particular, and in fact to my tribe again in particular. So these are the things that are always in my mind when I go out to the public. So I would say, being born, of course, and raised in Africa, lived in Europe and now in the US, I have, if anything, I would say I have learned to navigate cultural differences.
With the right frame of mind and orientation, some of these young Gambian scholars believe unless something is done, the situation is unlikely to change.
We need to have a people that are inspired, a people that see a country and feel they belong to the country, and feel they have a history, and feel like they are going somewhere, right? So, like I was saying, I think we need to do a lot of soul searching. We need to ask ourselves why a very small country, which have enormous potential, but we are still in the situation, a country that is highly indebted, a country where all the young people are trying to leave the country, a very hopeless group of young people, right? A country where there is no trust between the leadership and the people. I feel like there is a huge disconnect if you compare us to other countries. So I feel, one, we need to develop that sense of love for the country. And I think one major thing that is really killing us is corruption. And I think we cannot move if we don't find a way to fix that problem. I I think most people, almost everybody, is comfortable with the status quo, and it's not right. I think if we work on some of these things, we can move as a country.
I mean, you know, like they say, there is no place like home, right? And also there is this adage that, you know, no matter how long a tree stays into the river, it can never turn to become a crocodile. So in as much as I would want to stay here, I mean, I don't think I still belong here to a certain extent. So Gambia would always be home for me. So in summary, I'm saying I definitely have the plan to go back to the Gambia. And the reason it's because, you know, we all know that Gambia is a third world country. And we've seen statistics backing this up, research is backing this up, that one way that a country can come out of the poverty conditions that they are living is educating its population. So I believe I owe the country a responsibility of going back and giving back to the country. And the reason is because if I don't do that, in fact, I would not be fair to the Gambian community, because my undergraduate degree was financed through taxpayers' money. So I still believe I owe it to the Gambian people to go back to the Gambia and give it back to them.
It might not be easy to change the state of affairs all of a sudden. However, there is still a ray of hope to cling on despite the setbacks.